Hello everyone and welcome to my 7th Ace Squared devlog. In this video I will first showcase the turret and its mechanics. After that I will go into more detail about how I added it and the difficulties I encountered. I have spent great amounts of effort to create this masterpiece. It would help me tremendously, more than you might imagine if you liked this video. It really helps to recommend this video to those who might be interested in the project. The more people who are interested in the project, the higher chance of success. Let's begin with the turret mechanics. I added a turret to Ace Squared. The turret is a deployable item for the engineer class. Currently it fires any visible enemy players and projectiles. It fires quick bursts of 3 bullets. Right now the turret might be a little too overpowered, but this is just the first test version, and I haven't even released to my playtesters yet. For an enemy to be targeted by the turret, it needs to be in the turret's aim cone. It is basically a cone which enlarges towards the direction the turret was placed to face. The cone's base angle is 120 degrees. Although the turret can only target an enemy that is in the aim cone, it may follow the target anywhere, as long as the target is visible. Again, if the target dies or hides behind cover, then the new target must be within the aim cone. The turret is linked to a client. If the client disconnects or switches teams, their turret will be destroyed. The client may only have one turret placed at a time. The turret may be only damaged by enemy players and the owner player. For the turret to be placeable, you need a 2x2x2 open area with 2x2 supporting blocks below. The turret will be destroyed after placing if all 4 supporting blocks are destroyed. That's about it for the turret. It works like it does in Rust if I remember correctly. It took much longer to implement than I had initially anticipated because I had to rewrite some part of the code so that it wouldn't become a big pile of garbage. Previously I had grenades and players using different systems for spawning and networking positions. However, after rewriting that, all networkables use the same base system. Basically I have a base class, network behavior, which handles object spawning and destruction logic. When adding a new kind of class such as a vehicle, there is not much that needs to be done. Inherit from entity which inherits from network behavior and then set up the prefab in the shared network behavior data. Then pass this shared data to the factory function and voila, the vehicle is networked automatically. Network behavior positions are networked by default. My project uses delta compression, so if the position doesn't change, any additional data is not sent if the client has received the position. I also have a base class, network behavior snapshot, from which all other snapshots inherit from. For example, this is how and when the grenade projectile is synced to clients. Rotation is added to the message only when it changes and so on. I also have a script network behavior state sender, which manages constructing these snapshots and sending them to clients. Previously I had a system for the player and grenade projectile each, so you can see easily why that started to become a problem. At first my friend Malignatius made the turret model. I started off implementing the turret by writing out the requirements and some possible problems that could arise in a notepad file. Following that, I created turret spawning logic so it uses the network behavior spawning system mentioned before. I also made deploying of deployables with the can be rotated flag set to true to wait with a coroutine until additional rotation index is sent from the client. I also wrote code that checks whether the current place is valid for placing blocks. I am also doing a box check so you can't deploy a turret if there already is an entity like player or another turret. After testing different deploy positions with offsets, I concluded I should always center the deployable based on its renderer spawns, so it will be always centered. This is much better than manually adding offset and adjusting that. as this will send it automatically and no part of the turret will clip inside the wall as long as the model renderers fit in the deploy area. 2x2x2 bounding box in this case. The turret uses a base damage system, where the entity that should be damaged inherits from the iDamageable interface. If the entity implements that class, then it can be passed to the utility function try_damage, which is in a static class and only depends on interfaces, so I can write tests for it easily if I need to. There are some hard-coded checks to disallow damaging the turret, as I was lazy yesterday and wanted to finish this system. Next up, turret snapshots. Here is the class definition for the turret snapshot. It is updated at the rate of 10 Hz, which is fast enough based on my testing. It has a bit at index 4 from the low end, which is set if the rotation has changed. The center rotation is the aim-bound rotation. Here are the functions get state message header bit field and serialize additional state data responsible for writing the state header and rotation into the packet. I made projectiles damageable so that the turrets can shoot at them and act almost like if they were anti-air turrets. Right now the projectiles are not using lag compensation, so if you are shooting at projectiles as a player, you might need to lead the shots if the projectiles are moving too quickly. When implementing a turret aiming system, I noticed a major problem at first. The turrets would only aim at the center of the player. So if the player's head or feet was showing, the turret wouldn't shoot because the visibility checks would think the player was behind cover. To fix this problem, I created an iTargetable interface. It has simply an array of transforms which the targetable class needs to implement. These are points inside colliders, which are the other endpoints of the visibility checks. On the other hand, I have made the iTargeting entity interface. It defines the targeting origin, which should also be inside the collider of the entity doing the targeting, so that the raycast does not collide with the entity. Therefore, visibility checks basically check from the origin point to each targeting point in the targetable entity's target transform list. I created a fast raycast function to use with Unity's job system. With this I am able to fire many raycasts quickly. Basically, at every tick, I take all turrets that exist and have target and do all the visibility checks at once in a job, instead of on the main thread after one another, which would be slower. There's a bit of overhead doing it this way, but if you have a lot of turrets, this really pays off. Especially with grenades, since they use the same system, cause you don't want grenades to damage entities behind cover. Lastly, I want to discuss some minor problems with this system that I need to fix, but they're not as critical as there are more important things to do. First, there is a turret griefing problem. You cannot damage your teammate's turret, but you can destroy the supporting blocks underneath it. I have been thinking of alternative solutions, but this is the best one I have come up with and is manageable since there is no safeguard against destroying teammates' blocks either as of now. Secondly, whenever turret fires bullet, a reliable message is sent to clients. This might cause more overhead because if the client does not receive the message first, the server needs to keep resending it, but this problem is also with player weapon fire updates. But I have not at least noticed it causing issues in playtests. Finally, the turret is always offsetted from the same corner block. Making the turret offset from the closest block to the player would be a quality of life update, but this is good enough for now. And it might not be even noticeable because the range of deploying the turret is decent. Thank you for watching. If you have watched this far, I am extremely grateful. Be sure to join the project's Discord server if you wish to playtest, chat with the community and see more frequent updates, for example.